Hello and welcome to a tutorial on how to use 3D Coat. Now in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to basically use 3D Coat for painting a character model. I'm going to start with something really simple. So in order to do that you want to first have a retopologized mesh or low poly model with UVs. If it doesn't have UVs, 3D Coat can generate them, or you can make new UVs and then work on that. So what I'm going to do here is choose this one, Paint UV Map Mesh. And let's see, we've got the option of painting some stuff here that's already got UVs. A good idea to practice is to use one of these tiled planes. You see keep UV and it's set at 2048. Now for the purpose of this video I'm going to change it to 1024 in case I get any performance snags. So here we've got our plane and we've got these layers here. If you don't see this layer system, you can find it in pop-ups, layers, or press the L key. So this layer 0 is usually just a plain grey colour, and layer 1 is blank, ready to go. So I'm just going to start painting on this. Now as you can see there's 3 balls here and a couple have got crosses through them. Now this one deals with painting, so you can paint height, a normal map height, like a bump, which still keeps the surface flat, but gives you the impression that there's something being stamped on or erased. So as I draw, you can see it's perfectly flat, but from above, if I move this light around, so I'm just holding and dragging left and right, you can see it looks like a raised bit. If I want it to go down the way, I can press Control and it should go down the way. If I want to blur it out, I can use Shift. A little bit hard to see with that brush. Let's try a clearer brush. Let's also change the sky, something a bit more obvious. For that one, change the brightness and move the light around. So you can see when I paint normally, it looks like it's raised out. A little bit sensitive with the screen capture, or it's pushed in the way. Okay, so you can paint these little bumps and they're great for details like skin noise or anything. You can use Shift to smooth it out. All of these have got some kind of jitter or noise on them. Again, if you use Control, it will paint in the way. It's the same as making it negative depth, so minus 100. Obviously, don't have to use Control. Let's just ditch this layer. You don't drag it, you just click the bucket here. So you can see I'm drawing inward. Seem to have a little kind of aftertouch here, maybe Wacom settings. And if I hold Control this time, it's going to draw outward. Because the depth is set to minus 100. You can also see with this, you get options. Change the depth here, but it only goes to 0. So in order to get a negative depth, you can do minus, or you can hold down Control to get the opposite. You can also change blending mode. Say it's going to blend with whatever was there before. Oh, turn it off. Or add. Change that back to 50. maximum, which means it only will go to a certain value. For some reason it keeps switching off. Okay, it's great for making tileable textures, this setup. You don't really have to paint in the middle or wherever, and it repeats it everywhere. Okay, so I'll make just ditch that, make a new layer. So let's say I just want to paint in color. That's this green one here. I'm going to choose my color and then choose the brush to paint in. Now I've got it set on my Wacom pen that if I press the big button that I can change the radius here, but you can also change it up here, and with the mouse I think it's middle button, unless you've customized your port, which you can do in here, customize all kinds of navigation stuff. Okay, so I'm just going to paint some wavy lines. You can see it's already a tileable texture. You can see when I've gone off the edge there, it's going to stop dead. So it's a good idea just to stay in this middle area and doing tileable stuff. I can duplicate the layer by clicking on this. It's a copy, and you can see it's getting stronger because I was fairly light on that. You can merge the layers. You right click and merge down. Just check that's right click. Yeah, merge down. So that's basically painting in color. I can add a new layer above and work in the layer above. Toggle that. If I turn off this base layer, you can see that I'm actually painting just wherever I've painted. The rest is left transparent, so it's pretty good for making grass or hairs. This plane is just to create a background or a starting point. Okay, so that's painting in color, painting in normals, and let's have a look at painting with gloss. So I'm just going to ditch these two layers. And you've got this here gloss intensity. So just now it's ramped up full, 100%. So this is just you saying that I'm adding shininess to the surface, and you can kind of build it up here based on the opacity. And you can see it's reflecting. The more I paint, the more it will reflect. Almost like a mirror. You can see the reflection. If you want metallic, you can bring up this metallic amount. Just be sure you're on a certain workflow called roughness metalness. I don't know if this is going to work so well here. It's just going to paint a similar thing. So in order to get this metalness, we have to change the workflow to, let's go for gloss metal. So now when I paint, you can see it's darker, because what metalness will do is it will inherit some of the tones from the base color, or whatever color I choose to paint in. Actually, the tones from the base make sense. So as I paint color here, just paint all over these. So you can see where I paint metalness. I'll just add another layer above. Let me just ditch this one. In fact, I'll add one above there, and I'll fill this with just a greyish color like before. I'm just going to fill that layer. I think it's done it. Get rid of that one. Get rid of that one. I must be getting on the base layer. Let's just start anew. You can go new, save. This one, and I'll just put it to 1024. So back on this layer, check my workflow. Maybe want to set this at the start. Gloss metalness is common for Unreal Engine and also Unity. And gloss spec color is another option. Gives you more control of the spec color. Right, so I'm going to paint again using just the gloss. So I'm going to put the gloss up full and the metalness up full. I'm just going to draw. Let's put the opacity right up as well. You can see that's perfect glossy mirror. So I'll turn the metalness down this time. Draw. You can see it's not as much like a mirror and it's more like plastic. So you can say it's not metal. There's no metalness there. Do the same again, put the metalness up, and let's put the gloss right down. Paint here. And then put the metalness down and paint here. So you can see the different effects that these have got. Now if I put a layer in between these and just paint some colour, paint red, switch on the colour mode, turn off the gloss paint mode, you can see how these affect things. So the plastic, really glossy plastic here, and then glossy metal here, and then not glossy metal and not glossy plastic. So rough, your roughness. Sometimes does the roughness workflow, which is just the opposite of gloss. So where there's white, there'll be gloss in the gloss workflow, but in roughness, if it's white, it means it's the opposite for gloss. So basically, what it would be is black. Okay, so the best way to work is with the gloss metalness, because you've got these options here and it saves any complications anywhere else. You can make up tellable textures really easy. Let's import our new model per pixel painting, which is the same as what we were just doing here. Okay, I'll do it the way I did it there. Import this one, or we can go new, don't save, choose this one and then open the folder to find our own. Okay, let's see if I've got something I can use. An alien arm that I can use. This one. Let's go for this base. Keep UV. Okay. I've got like a normal map for this arm as well that I could easily bring in. So let's do that. Textures, import, normal map. And then let's look for the same folder. Okay, go with that one. I'll just check this invert green channel to make sure that it's coming in the correct way. You can see that's the normal map applied, and it's slotted it into this layer. So I can toggle it on and off, and also if I expand this, I can change the depth opacity of it. So I can change it to 20. You can see it's more faint, 50, and so on. I can also create a layer above, and if I want more normal details, I'm going to bring this to white. I can paint the normal feature on. If I want to paint more veins, maybe a bit strong, so I can change the depth to 5. The good thing about this is, let's just undo these. I'm going to name this as veins. Good thing about this is I can paint color as well as normal. I'm going to choose to colour I want these veins to be. And you can see it's even following the contour of what was underneath it. So I guess if I want, I can erase those bits, but it's no good practice. So I'm just going to leave that, undo that. I don't want to change the normal map that's already maybe been baked out. So nothing wrong with the veins sitting above here. You can even emphasize these veins by painting extra bump on top of them. But maybe I don't want that, maybe I just want to paint just with the colour. Change the tones here, no problem. If you press 2, you can see just the colour mode. If you press 3, it's the gloss, but there's no gloss yet. 4, I think it's in a wireframe, but you can't see it because it's still in the gloss mode. Press 2 and toggle 4, you can see the wires. And 5 is back to normal. 4, toggle the wire off. You can see the topology here that I've used. Press 4 again. Okay, so I've got these veins here. I'm going to click on this layer because I know when I add one, it's going to go above it. And I'm just going to double tap that and give it a name. I'm going to call it base tone. And I can choose a color I want. And choose fill layer. Yes, this is just a preview window. Shows you what it's going to look like. There we go, I've got a base color and I've got a little bit of vein color as well, and I can toggle these veins on and off of the new ones. I can toggle the normal map off, bring in the new veins, and you can see that I've painted with the normal bump thing on here, but not with here. Just like this. See, I'm using the same color so you can't see it. But as soon as I change color, else. Got the depth a little bit low, make that higher. Again, if I use control, I can paint in the weight. Just bring that normal map back on, you can see the effect that's having. So it's pretty cool. You can add all kinds of scars and hairs and stuff, tattoos. If you've got normal map that you've created somewhere else. So this was created from a high poly version that I made in ZBrush and added all these skin details. Generated the normal map and then brought it in here as you've seen. So what you can do is you can now bake things like curvature, and it's going to use the overall mesh shape and the normal map to get some details. I'm going to process that. And as you can see, it's created this curvature map, but it's not visible. So if I enable it, you can see what it's created. This is just the curvature map itself. One thing I like to do with the curvature map is change the mode to overlay and change the opacity to about 20%. And what it does is it just enhances all the edges. If I toggle this off and on, you can see how it makes these veins and wrinkles and things just pop a little bit. If you really want, you can go overkill with it and make it 50%. And then if you really want, you can go 100%. This overlay mode keeps the color underneath, so it's pretty good. And the way curvature maps are created is they're grayscale. So the way you've seen that, when I put it back to standard, you can see that the base itself is mid-gray. And where there's a channel it can fall into, it goes darker. And where there's an edge that it can detect, it goes lighter. So curvatures are basically edge detection. Inward edges get darker and outward edges get lighter. So it's completely enhanced this normal map. If I turn off the normal map, you can see that the normal map is not really doing anything much anymore. So creating a normal map first and then a curvature map from it kind of saves a little bit of expense if you really need to. But bringing that back in, you can see how more effective that is with the light. Move the light around. Okay, curvature map back to overlay. Change the amount, let's go 40%, it's probably good for this one. And back to the alien arm, albedo, the base tone. And let's choose some brush like this. Choose color. Let's choose another green. Increase the size and start painting. There's not really much happening with this painting here. And plus, at this edge it looks like it's kind of like a bit harsh, so I might want to blend it using shift. Or I can go into the brush options here. So already it is fade on edge, so that's fine. If you switch this off and you go too far to the edge, you'll see that it's really harsh. So fade on edge, and if I draw here, you can see it's a little bit softer. It's still good practice to avoid the edges and then rotate it around. Depends on the brush you're using. Let's go for the soft brush and try it. Let's just try it down at the hand here. You see it's got the soft fall off, and then if I turn that off, you can see it's quite harsh. Press 2, you'll see that clearly. Okay, so this brush, back to this brush, and I want to jitter a few things: opacity, position, a little bit of hue jitter, brightness, saturation. Let's see what we get now. A little more variation in there, but not much. Let's increase that hue a lot, and you can see the difference that's making. Brightness. Just enable fade on edge. Make sure. All the way around this guy. Start going in detail. Check for these little harsh edges. At this point, I'm going to make the brush really big, but turn the opacity down so that I'm just getting a little bit in there. Also, it's affected by the pen pressure. I'm going to turn that off so that I don't get any pen pressure changing the size of the brush. Just cover up these bits that were missed. You can see also when I turn that off that it's affected the way the brush works. So just be mindful of that. You can change these opacities down, nothing, control the opacity here. Okay, let's bring on these on by pressing 5. And we've got a really distinctly different looking arm. You might have to go over and fix a few of these little bits. Let's say we want these fingernails to be really glossy in a different color. We can we'll still work within the curvature map area. I'll just add here. I'll just call this nails. Choose a different brush. When I choose a different brush, these settings go back to whatever's under this brush. So because I change the settings here, they get remembered. But when I start up 3D Coat again, they get forgotten. So beware of that. I think you can save options somewhere. Okay, so I'm just going to bring that down. Let's make a greyish green. So I want to paint gloss as well as colour. I'll give it a little bit of matte on this, just a little bit, but I'll make it quite glossy. I'll bring the opacity up. Otherwise I'm going to have to paint a few times to see it, so I'll bring it up. Just bring it up to 100 and start painting. You can't really see it's glossy until you move it or move the light, and you can see the reflection there. For each of these. If when you're rotating round the mesh doesn't stay round about where you last press, you can press this pen button and now it does. Sometimes 3D Coat tends to forget that that's the mode you want to work in, so you have to press that button. Just move the light round. You can also press 3 to work in the gloss mode. If I want to see wireframe, I can press 6 and 4. And what it does is it changes the wireframe to yellow. In this case, we'll just press 5 and work in this mode. There we go. Create some crazy alien scars and also added nails. Now, because I baked the curvature map after I'd created these, so the curvature map took any of the bumps that I'd created into account. If I try and erase like anything like these marks I made, you can see there's still traces of it because of the bake that I created with the curvature map. So they kind of stay there. A way about that is to change this to mid-grey, so I'll just bring that to here. Here doesn't matter, but lightness should be 50%. Okay, and if I paint in this curvature map with this colour, I'll just turn the gloss off and just make sure I'm working with this colour. I can actually get rid of these because I'm bringing it back to a neutral colour. And the way it's working in this layer is it's overlay mode. So anything grey is neutral, and anything darker than grey makes anything underneath darker, and anything lighter than grey makes anything underneath slightly lighter. Okay, so I can bring back veins, and you can see that there. So if I wanted that back, I could go ahead and make a new curvature map. So if I just delete this curvature map now, and I make some new bumps. So let's make a new layer and call it new bumps. Turn on the normal map ball, turn off the other one. It doesn't matter what color I use, it's all down to this depth. So I'm just going to add some spots here. The way to do this is just to change out of the position and use some high spacing. For some reason it's these strokes. Let's just do 150, 300, and change out of the size as well. Maybe not, but something like that. Smaller brush. You can see it's lost 400. Position, variation, radius variation. Okay, maybe that. Not quite as effective. So I'll just draw these in manually. Okay, so they're now considered part of the normal map. You can see how that's affecting the light. So when I bake a curvature now, it's going to take into account the original normal map that was baked out initially, It's also going to take into account any new stuff that I've painted with bump on it. So as soon as I go to textures, calculate curvature, it's going to work that out. Just switch it on to see what it's doing. You can see how it's created the white edge at the highlight tip, the dark edge at the sort of crevice where it meets the surface, and the grey area is where it kind of neutralizes. So I can change that back to overlay, bring it down to about 40%, and get a little bit of enhancement on that. I still got the normal map on. Another cool thing is the occlusion, so I can calculate occlusion. Again, that's based on the mesh shape and also where I choose the light to come from. So if I press 2, you can see the ambient occlusion having an effect. If I change this to standard, you can see where it's worked. Now, it's not too strong, but I can calculate the occlusion again. I can change this to like sphere and hemisphere, change the number of lights. Let's go for 3000, and I'll just do a new layer, and it will create a duplicate. Turn the normal map off, curvature off. You can see, yeah, turn off the veins. Yeah, all of this is what you see is all through ambient occlusion. I don't have any of these normal maps switched on. So that's another way to enhance, and normally these are set to multiply. That's the way to darken. You can see it working there. Curvature maps now on, and all that does is darken areas. But by the time you get all these on, they all add up. So if I toggle these off, you can see the effect. Nails, veins, normal map. Let's make the whole arm really wet. So I'm just going to add a new layer. Doesn't matter where I'm going to put this because it's going to be gloss controlled, which doesn't really take into account these other maps just yet. I can Photoshop them later. I'm just going to call this wetness. And if I switch the gloss ball on and I put my gloss opacity up high, I'll just put metalness right down. I'm just going to fill this layer. I can see the preview in this little window of how that's going to look. You can also resize this. I can change the amount just up here to see what kind of effect I'm going to get. So you see as I lower it, I get less that wet look. Maybe I want to go for something a bit there. Okay. And go fill layer. And now what I can do is I can create something called extra wet, because you won't get one just level of wetness throughout. You might get some variation in it. I'm going to bring this right up and just start painting little extra bits of extra wetness. If I want to dry it out a bit, I can bring the gloss right down. It's going to overwrite the layer below it, and I can take some of that away where it's maybe dried up already. So you can see how I could later control the gloss through any of these maps generated, so I could make this curvature map act like it's going to be drier in these inner bits and then wet around the edges. Basically just move the curvature information into the gloss texture. From that, what I mean is that you can now export your map. So if I press 3, this is like the gloss map, and you can actually see it. Go to texture editor, change this to gloss. You can see how that looks. So this grey area is where I filled it all with one tone, and then these are the variations in gloss. So dark is less glossy or more dry, and wet is more glossy or more wet. You can see as I paint on here, paint little cracks and things. You can muck about with all these brushes and change things and see what kind of effect you get. You can shift to blur them out a bit. And as soon as I press 5, it goes back to this mode. I can preview any of the maps here, the colour map, the normals, see where I've drawn those extra bits in, gloss, and any metalness. So metalness, if I was to paint that now, I'll make a new layer, I'll just call that metalness. It kind of ties itself in with gloss, which is a little bit annoying, so I'm just going to put gloss to 0. And paint some blobs here, so that's metalness. You can see how the glossiness is now being killed there. So gloss and metalness in 3D Coat are very much tied together, which is one of the things that needs to be improved on, but I'm pretty sure there's a setting for it somewhere. If I was to switch gloss off and paint in metal, maybe. Yeah, but nothing happens. Try and paint in colour, nothing. Okay, so we're looking at gloss. Let's go back to metal. Metalness up. Yeah. So this has to be switched on. Gloss is tied to metalness in the sense that I'm going to end up painting in both. So gloss intensity high. You can see it in the hand there. If I put it in the arm here, you can see it appears when I let go. So just wondering myself if there's a way to avoid painting both gloss and metalness, because for that to be overlooked seems a bit odd. Yeah, that's something that I need to look into because I've never really clocked it before. Yeah, really what you would want to do is make your layer of metalness and then override it later with the glossiness. So I could even bring this metalness down to where I filled it with wetness. I've got my metalness data I should have in this one, and then in these ones I've got my gloss data. So they're basically the gloss in here that I've been painting with, because it paints gloss with the metalness. I don't have an extra ball here that just paints metal. So you have to override it later with a higher layer. So just bear that in mind. That's the way around it. So let's go back to that. So I paint metalness now. That's on if I turn it off. So I think again the metalness in these layers have affected it. So I can change the, here we go, I can change the metal opacity here. That's what I'm looking for. So if I bring that right down to 0 for these two, that's what I was looking for. And now the metalness can be controlled in here, and I can turn the gloss down in here. There we go. That's how you go about that. So just bear that in mind. I think there's also a way of saying use it as a metalness layer. No, maybe not. But yeah, just bear in mind, if you want metalness, make a metalness layer and turn the metal opacity up and the gloss down, and that way you can paint metalness. You can see how oily that starts to look. Now when you add metalness, and if I turn it down, I'm taking it away. Must have painted some colour there, so I'll just erase that. Metalness and the metalness. Erase. That's of the crazy brush I'm using. Maybe not. Am I painting the colour or am I erasing? There we go. So that's basically 3D coat in a nutshell. You've got ability to paint in normal, colour, and gloss or metal. You can control those values again with these amounts. There's also some masking stuff you can do here, but it's a little bit complicated. So I recommend just painting your layers as you need them and doing your masking somewhere else. Or use a different method like painting in black and white to later use as a mask in Photoshop. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Any questions, feel free to comment and I'll maybe cover it in another tutorial. Cheers for watching. Oh, also one more thing I forgot to say was exporting your textures is under Textures Export. So if you want the colour, the colour albedo. I'll just call this text 1. Same as Targa, that's fine. Texture Export, gloss, and the gloss roughness and metal alpha, or metalness for the gloss. Let's go for that. I think I pressed it. Go. Text 1, metal gloss. Another good thing about metalness is it's only a grayscale, so it doesn't use all the channels up like spec color would. And export your normal map, tangent space, low poly mesh. You can also sync 3D coat with Photoshop, which can be done through preferences under external tool. There. So external 2D editor, and you just locate your Photoshop or whatever it is you want to use to edit textures. And then when you've done that, you can go to textures and sync, or edit, and you would press edit all layers in external editor, Control P or Control Alt P. So you can do all these other things. The current layer. These are pretty handy sometimes, but you need to be wary. If you start using too many Photoshop tricks and you save the document, when you come back into 3D coat, it might not understand things like masks or effects. So just be wary of that. Let's just open up these images to see how they look. You can actually preview them here as well, as I said before. But for the sake of this, let's just open those textures. There's our normal map. The original one's already in there, and the extra details we painted. Metal, gloss stored in the alpha channel. As I was saying, the metalness is just grayscale, so you can channel pack it by leaving it in the red channel and using the other two channels for something else. A lot of people pack these in different ways. It's all down to how you build your shaders. Albedo is just pure colour that I created, and here you can go ahead and fix little bits using like this one. Fix little sharp edges just in the main texture. Just watch for these ones, because these are actually just edge padding meeting the other edge padding. Also, when you sync, so the Control P, you sync with Photoshop. Just doing that there. So it says this layers PSD. You can see all the layers. When you sync with Photoshop, it gives you the wireframe, which is really handy. So I'm just going to Control A, Control C, and then go to this document to see it. Control Shift V. And you can see now that's the UVs and how I've got all this edge padding. So So that acts as a guide as well. And I can go ahead and paint details in here. Bear in mind, like, there might be some distortion based on how your UVs are laid out. That's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial. Feel free to post a message in the comments and I'll dare to do an update. Cheers.